There are 5 rungs to a meth cook. 3 of them are legal. 2 of them will get you killed if you climb them wrong. At rung 1, you might clear a few hundred a week. At rung 5, you can move millions through a year and still end up broke in a legal sense, because cash you cannot explain is money you do not really own. Look, this ladder is not for every user, every seller, or every addict. Entry body, crew lead, operator, multi-state manager, principal. Year 5 is the question. Nearly every rung resolves into 4 boxes: death, prison, exit, or the rare promotion that only delays the other 3. You also need the cost ledger, because the camera can lie by omission. Meth labs poison apartments, motel rooms, sheds, and lungs. Children get removed from contaminated houses. Neighbors lose leases. Fire crews and cleanup crews take the risk after the money leaves. Typical sentence length rises from a county year nuisance case to federal time measured in decades. At rung 1, you think you are learning the business. You are really learning exposure. You watch doors, carry supplies, rent rooms, drive 1 county over, or stand near the car while somebody older does the talking. Pay runs about $200 to $2,000 a week, usually cash, often short. The lifestyle at this rung is visible and cheap. Beat-up sedan, motel carpet, corner store coffee at 2 a.m. You are deniable upward and obvious downward. Typical person is 14 to 22, recruited by a cousin, a boyfriend, a cellmate's brother, somebody 1 rung up who needs a body with no profile. Risk comes fast here. Arrest, burns, chemical exposure, getting jumped after a deal goes sideways, getting set up because your name is easiest to spend. Court records are full of children found in lab houses. In one Missouri case, a toddler tested positive for meth contamination after living where adults cooked. Year 5 here is usually prison or exit. Body count is low per worker, but the victim count is broad. Family loses rent money, cars, custody, and school stability. Rung 2 is lieutenant. You run a small crew, source motel rooms, supervise couriers, collect cash, and keep burner phones moving. Now the pay jumps to roughly $5,000 to $20,000 a month. Enough to look successful in 1 zip code. Not enough to survive mistakes, lawyers, and dead inventory. The lifestyle changes in small, ugly ways. The count starts on the kitchen table. The phone rotates every week. Sleep gets broken into pieces. You keep 1 eye on the window and 1 on the person under you who suddenly bought shoes they should not be able to afford. Typical person is 22 to 30 and has either done 1 stretch or watched someone close do one. The risks at rung 2 are the first serious betrayals. First wire, first cooperator, first search warrant that turns your apartment into an evidence photo set. In the United States v.
Trevon Pugh and co-defendants. Lower-level coordinators tied to meth distribution were undone by controlled buys, phone records, and cooperating witnesses. Typical sentence here is 5 to 12 years, if federal. Year 5 lands in prison more than promotion. Victim cost keeps spreading through theft, neglect, and contaminated living spaces. Family loses jobs, lease history, and the person who pays the light bill. Rung 3 is operator. You arrange cooks, shift product, manage storage, and use fronts to blur cash flow. Pay ranges from $50,000 to $200,000 a month in active periods. The money looks large because the exposure has been subcontracted downward. The lifestyle gets quieter. You rent a modest house nobody notices. Maybe an auto shop, towing yard, or small cash business helps explain traffic. A lawyer is on retainer. Your family knows you have money and avoids specifics, because specifics become testimony. Typical person is 30 to 45 and has enough insulation to forget what county jail smells like. Risk here becomes federal. Conspiracy, firearms counts, environmental charges when labs dump waste, asset forfeiture, long indictments where your name appears next to everybody you ever called. A court-documented example is the Indiana meth ring tied to Walter Boone, where organization, supply, and coordinated movement of product brought substantial federal sentences. Typical time for this rung is 10 to 25 years. Year 5 is prison or promotion,
with exit available only if you move before the papers arrive. Victim cost includes users, of course, but also landlords, motel workers, and first responders. Family loses homes bought in other names, and children lose the version of you that still came home. You are lieutenant to the principal, or the distributor with reach across counties or states. You handle pricing, debt collection, chemical sourcing through intermediaries, stash locations, and laundering through property or shell businesses. Pay runs roughly $500,000 to $5 million a year on paper or in cash piles that need hiding. Now the lifestyle looks respectable from the curb.
Real estate in 3 names. A child in private school under a quieter surname. Mid-grade restaurants closed for private meetings. The phone never really stops. Typical person is 35 to 55. By rung 4, the math doesn't work anymore. You are too visible to vanish and too entangled to retire clean. Risk becomes concentrated and personal.
Rivals know your name. Agents know your pattern. People below you owe money, and people above you want certainty. In the case of Larry Dean Harmon, known for darknet laundering around drug proceeds, the paperwork side showed how middle managers can be buried by records long after the handoff. In meth cases, equivalent coordinators catch 15 to 30 years, sometimes more with enhancements. Year 5 is prison, death, or cooperation. Victim cost includes violence around debt collection and whole neighborhoods absorbing distribution traffic. Family loses privacy, property, and any belief that distance from the cook site meant safety. Rung 5 is the top. The principal, the person films call a kingpin, though the truth is the kingpin is usually the most boring person in the operation. Your pay over a career can land anywhere from 20 million to far more, but liquidity is the problem. Money trapped in walls, buried in businesses, or burned on lawyers is not freedom. The lifestyle is gated, watched, and thinned. Armored SUV, anonymous boardroom, house staff that know too much. You are alone because every conversation has price and risk attached. Typical person is 40 plus and in for life unless exit is chosen early and brutally. Natural retirement is rare. Quiet old age happens to a minority small enough to ignore. At this rung, year 5 narrows hard. Death by rival, debt, or state force. Prison measured in life or near life. Exit through cooperation, witness protection, or a foreign corner where the money keeps shrinking. One court-documented benchmark is meth trafficker Ignacio Nacho Coronel Villarreal, killed in a military operation after years near the top of a major pipeline. Different country, same logic. The top rung ends in a visitation booth, an ICU room, a funeral parlor, or a hidden address. Body count can reach dozens indirectly across a network. Family loses inheritance to seizure, security to fear, and the public version of the name. What years around this ladder teach you is simple enough. The operator to victim ratio is tiny. One earning crew can poison dozens of lives without ever firing a shot. Year 5 still gives the same 4 boxes: death, prison, exit, promotion. And at the top, the salary is often fiction after lawyers, security, seizure, and silence take their cut. Climb carefully. Every rung pays, and every rung charges. Most rungs end somewhere you wouldn't visit on purpose. Which rung is just a worse version of a legal job you've had? Be honest.